Hi, I'm Beverly Young Reed, and I created Authentically You because of my life experiences. So a little bit about me. I'm a certified peer counselor in the state of Washington. I am a accredited or certified co-RAP facilitator. I'm accredited with Triple P, which is the Power of Positive Parenting. I'm a life coach. And I'm a mother of 5 wonderful, amazing children who also have lived life experiences. And I am a widow, which is kind of how Authentically You came about. So as you can see from my initial slide, I have my email here. It's bev.young.reed@gmail.com. And my webpage is bevyoungreed.com. The things that we're going to go over in the class today is they're meant to be prompts for you to be able to figure out who you are as a person. And so I would suggest that you have a pen and paper available or somehow open up a Word document on your screen so that you can take answer questions or take notes. There's going to be points where I'm going to ask you to answer a question or to look at the people that you hang out with or different things that you may want to take notes on. There are handouts for this class, and those will be given to you in the chat box. I will be dropping them in there in a little bit, and the handouts are things, again, that you can use to help you figure out who you are. And I know that sounds a little bit convoluted, so we're just gonna go ahead and go from here. So we're gonna go over getting to know yourself, giving yourself a self-concept makeover, accepting yourself, learning to love who you are, determining your life purpose, and discovering how to live authentically. You're not gonna walk away from this workshop with an automatic, hey, wow, I'm actually this person. But what you're going to walk away from this workshop with is some tools and some questions and some ideas to help you go down that path of figuring out who you are as a person. I have a quote here from one of our certified peer counselors up here in Washington, Shelby Smith, and it's a haiku, and it's, I am a country with my own weather patterns. Why try to change me? And I fell in love with that because so many times we try to be people that we're not just to make everybody around us happy. And it ends up making us unhappy as we change the different things about us that we really like, because nobody else, they're going to be offended by that, or they're not going to like that, or I want to fit in with this group, so I need to be part of that group. We slowly cover up who we are inside, and we build this narrative of who we think everybody else wants us to be, but we forget to listen to our inside voice sometimes and be true to ourselves. And so when you're being authentic, you're being real, you're being honest, you're being vulnerable. All of these words are things that can be used with authenticity. So we're going to get to know ourselves a little bit. And sorry, this workshop is one that you're going to actually have to work a little bit in. It's there's no sleeping allowed, just saying. I'm going to ask you to answer the questions, not in the room, but to yourself. And this is a safe space. So I want you to feel safe, and I want you to be able to reach down inside and be able to answer those questions inside yourself. You don't have to share them at all with anybody unless you feel a need or a desire to share the answer. But sometimes getting inside yourself can be a little bit hard. Your level of self-awareness can influence your relationships, your career, your happiness. It can affect your parenting style. It can affect your recovery. If you are hiding who you truly are, or if you're stumbling around trying to figure out who you are, it's harder to stand stable and to be that pillar of you, and to stay strong in the event of a storm or in the event of a challenge. And so self-awareness is necessary for taking control of your life. It illuminates the real reasons for past failures and challenges. Once you figure out who you are and you start looking into your past, you may be able to figure out, well, I wasn't honest with myself at this point, and maybe that's why that relationship ended. Or I was trying not to feel my emotions at this point, so maybe that's why I did this. Self-awareness is critical to be a leader, and I feel to be a peer as well. Self-awareness is the foundation for personal progress. As you become more aware of yourself, you're not going to be who you are tomorrow, but it's a step process. I've been doing the process now for about 4 years, and I'm definitely a lot more stable in who I am, and I'm pretty sure I'm very aware of who I am now. Why is it not changing slide? There we go. But it's a growth process. So don't expect it to change overnight. And you may have to change some habits along the way to help you be able to figure out who you are. So here's where I'm putting you guys to work. Self-reflection questions. Why do I need to be self-aware in order to live authentically? Well, does anyone want to answer that, or should I keep going? Like I've already said, you need to be aware of yourself so that you can live an authentic life. And what that means is you can have butterflies on your wall, and they bring you happiness and joy. And other people may not understand why the butterflies bring you happiness and joy, but that's okay, because I have a hallway of butterflies that I walk through every day to go to my bedroom or to my bathroom or to do my laundry. I realize that butterflies are something that makes me happy inside. And so I created the wall with sticky things. But in past homes, I may have done a wall of dragons, or I may have done a wall of fairies. Those were more my husband than me. So by living authentically, you know what truly brings you happiness. And if something truly brings you happiness, then you're not smiling, pretending. You're smiling because you're happy. And so that's why it's really important to live authentically. Do I feel like I've been self-aware in the past? And how can learning more about myself help me? So have you been aware of yourself? Do you know what truly brings you happiness? What is something that will help you to smile? The picture of a new baby, the smell of a fresh rose, homemade pie. There's so many things that can bring you happiness. And how can learning more about yourself help you? Like I've said, it helps you figure out who you truly are. How does my childhood affect my current beliefs, and how does it affect my values? As children, we are taught values. Whether they be good or bad, we are taught values through our parents and other adults around us that we believe in. And a lot of people that have mental health or addiction in their life history have gone through something in their childhood that can be very traumatic. And learning how to come to peace with that is something that can help you. And I don't mean let it go. I don't mean, that you have to just, oh, it's okay that it happened. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is acknowledging that something happened and realizing that it's not going to affect you today. that's coming to peace with that. And, you know, there are other things as we've grown up that have changed our values or moved our values around. In today's world, over the last year or so, I've seen people do things that I never thought that they would do because their values have changed. What parts of my childhood do I want to carry with me into the future? And what experiences do I want to let go of? And that's what I mean by coming to peace with your childhood, is that as your childhood, as you go through your childhood, there may be things in your childhood that you can hold on to that are amazing. I remember playing on a toy with my cousin, and we kept talking about religion. And my relationship with my cousin is one of the most amazing relationships I've had in my life, because I was an only child. And so growing up, and so she was my sister, my best friend. She was the person that I could talk to about what was going on in my life. And I always felt safe around her and talking with her. So that's something from my childhood that I want to hold on to, is my memories of my cousin. There may be things that you want to let go of. And sometimes we need therapists to help us with that. Sometimes we need a friend to talk through with that. But holding on to the good stuff is good, and letting go of the bad stuff. You know, if you need help with that, please get the help that you need for that. What can you learn from yourself from friends? Well, you know, every once in a while on my Facebook, I'll post something about what is something that you like about me. And so what I learned from my friends is, one, what they think I am, who they think I am, and what they think that is what they think my life is like. Whether or not they're right or wrong, that's not, but at least I'm seeing what they see of me. And again, please answer these questions for yourself. I learn about myself from the people that I hang out with, partially because I hang out with people that like to do some of the same stuff that I like to do. And if you're not happy when you're hanging out with your friends, then maybe there's something that needs to change there. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. What are my passions? How can I structure my life so that more of my daily activities reflect these passions? Oh my gosh, please write a list of your passions. My passions are singing, teaching, learning, and helping. And if I'm doing that, I'm happy. Life is amazing. And it helps me to be more who I am, to be able to live out my passions, because I can walk, you know, it's like, yay, I get to teach a class, woohoo. But by sharing my passion of living with other people, that can help their passion progress forward as well. So make a list of your daily habits and mark each habit as a positive or a negative. You know, we have a lot of habits. One of my habits is, first thing in the morning when I get up, I come out and I feed my cat her treats. That's a positive, because if I don't feed her treats, she yells at me and cries all day long. But we have positive habits, we have negative habits. And so by making a list of what your daily habits are, what your daily routine is, that helps you to see where your time goes. And as you figure out what you're doing, you may want to pick a habit that is negative that you want to focus on trying to turn into a positive, and maybe pick a positive habit and work on increasing that. So that is, you know, as you work on trying to live more of a positive life and to be more you, like let's say you smoke cigarettes and you really feel bad about that. That's the habit that you may pick on to turn into a positive, to stop smoking. Okay. Being aware of yourself is one of the most powerful tools you will ever have. And the reason I say this is because when you are aware of yourself, you are aware if you're feeling anxiety rising, you're aware if you're happy. It allows you to change and to live your life more effectively and more honestly. If you're not aware of what's going on, you just are kind of, you're a tumbleweed rolling through life because you really don't have any structure of what's going on inside, and you don't understand why things are happening around you. Maybe a little bit later today, sit down and write down in that moment what your thoughts and feelings are. You know, close your eyes and listen to your body. And as you're listening to your body and listening to yourself, how does your body feel? I have to do a check-in with my body regularly because I have fibromyalgia, very painful. And so when I get up in the morning, I close my eyes. I know that sounds silly, and I sit down and I think, okay, how is my body doing today? Is my balance okay? Where are the pains? How am I going to do today? Is today going to be a cane day, or is today going to be a day that I can walk on my own? And how am I feeling emotionally? Today, I was feeling really anxious when I woke up, and I felt this really strong anxiety building inside of me. And it wasn't just because I was teaching at a conference I'd never taught at before, and I was going to see people I've never met before, but it was because of things that have happened this last weekend with my family and friends that I'm still trying to process. And so those feelings are still there. So being aware of your feelings and what's going on in your body can be really important, helping you to figure out who you are, and understand how you deal with your frustration, emotional discomfort. When you get frustrated, what do? I like to drive. I know I scare people when I say that. But that also helps you realize your levels of frustration. When you start to get frustrated, in a wrap plan, what we do is we write down, you know, what are our triggers? What are we looking for? You know, what is that first part of, oh, I know it's going this direction if, so, you know, what causes frustration? What are your first signs of frustration? And you can figure that out, which will help you maybe not get so frustrated or help the frustration levels go down. Examine your friendships and intimate relationships. Do you give more than they do in the relationship? Or do you take more? Are they positive relationships? Are they encouraging you to stay in recovery? Are they encouraging you to walk on a path that is a good path? Or are they trying to talk you out of recovery? You know, hey, let's go to the bar. Let's get a couple of drinks. You know, hey, I thought I'd buy you this bottle of wine, you know. Do they agree with you, or do they try to change you? I've had a couple of friends that have tried to change me, and I didn't realize it at the beginning. I highly, highly, highly suggest that you keep a journal with your views on life, goals, and your intentions. And journals are amazing because you can empty out so much in there and then go back and read it and go, oh, that's what I was thinking. Journals are huge for bringing all that information forward. Ask what others would say about you. Go out to Facebook and ask. Meditation. And that is something that I used to laugh at, but I now meditate, and I like to meditate because it helps me feel calm. And I'm able to check in with myself emotionally and physically while I'm meditating to make sure that I am where I need to be on my health and my emotions. So do we have any questions at this point? Is there anything that anybody?
There was a question, Bev, whether or not these slides will be available. with the handout that you mentioned you were going to share?
Yes, I can. I can upload that. I think I can upload it once I'm done sharing it.
Okay, great.
Definitely.
And I think I don't know if you also wanted to share your information if people weren't able to get the handouts
Right.
in the
So
chat box. So I don't know how you want to do that.
yeah, I will be typing in my address, my email address. I type in my address, but it's a hard place to find, and you really don't want to come all the way up here to Olympia, just pick up some handouts. I type in my email address, and you guys can send me an email, and I will send you the handouts and the PowerPoint. So
that would be great. So there were a couple questions. Somebody asked, what if you can't figure out if you have passions?
You start with what makes you happy, and you look at something that you do, and it doesn't feel like a chore. You do it because it makes you feel happy, and that can lead to a passion. I love to sing. I'm a good singer, and I have singing for me is a passion because it's a talent that I can share with others and help others to feel good because of the types of music I sing. And you know, music to me, if I'm having a really bad day or even a really good day, it's really funny. It's both extremes. I will crank up the music in my car or in my house, and I will just sing my heart out to different artists because it releases. So for me, music is one of my passions. It starts out with what makes you happy, and then you go from there and you figure out what is something that you go to all the time. Writing could be a passion. Caring for animals. And it may take a while to figure out what makes you happy. My husband passed away 4 years ago, and at that time, my life changed. My whole life changed. My children were all adults at that point. So now I've got these 5 children that are fully grown and 1 chosen daughter who's fully grown. And my husband is no longer with us. He had suffered from a rare mitochondrial disease. And I looked at my house and I had to figure out it's my house. You know, we shut everything down, gave everything away that, you know, had to go to different people and stuff. And then I moved into a smaller place. And as I was packing things up and unpacking them in the new place, it was like, is this me or is this my husband? And at that same time, I lost my volunteer positions. One because I moved out of the area, and the other one because my last child graduated high school. So I was no longer a PTA region director, president, or council director or anything. And my position with the Naval Sea Cadet Corps, I moved, so I was no longer volunteering with the Navy Sea Cadets. So I'd lost those titles. I wasn't a wife. I was a mom, but it was a different type of mom. I wasn't a volunteer. And I had to figure out, what do I really like? What do I really want? What am I holding on to? My husband was an avid gamer, and so we had tons of gaming stuff. And you want to talk about a dice collection? I've got a dice collection. And those of you that are gamers will understand that. And so I had to ask myself, do I game because I enjoy gaming, or do I game because it was something that I could do with my husband and I enjoyed being with him? And it took me a little while to go through and figure out what actually brought me joy. And one of the things that I realized that brought me joy was I love painting. I love crafts. I love driving and seeing new areas. So those were the things that I started working on and realizing these are the things that are bringing me joy. And as I look at the things that bring me joy, then I figure out what is the one thing that I can't live without. Well, I can't live without music. And so that's my passion. But it starts with figuring out what brings you joy. Were there any other questions? Okay. So spend some time noticing your feelings. Do you see patterns emerging in similar situations? Do you feel that every time you go out with your friends, you're like, yeah, you're sitting there with them, but they're all talking to each other and you're just kind of sitting there? Understand yourself might be the most important part of becoming and living authentically. Yeah, understanding yourself. That's a hard one. And part of understanding yourself will be in the chat. I will be uploading some documents that'll work you through some questions that you will answer to hopefully help you to understand yourself. Your identity plays an important role in your decisions and relationships. What is your family history? Where were you raised? What culture were you raised in? What are your traditions? Was it a matriarchal led family? Was it a patriarchal led family? Was religion important in your family? Were Sunday night dinners huge? Everybody had to eat at the table. Nobody was ever home. Your personal history has helped you become who you are, for the good and the bad. Again, we talk about hanging out with the group, and you realize you pick up traits from your friends when you hang out with them. So even if you may not feel comfortable hanging out with them, you're still picking up some of their traits. And they're maybe getting you to do things that maybe you really don't enjoy. I enjoy going to a good movie. Going to a comedy show is okay. Do I want to go to a stadium full of people to watch a comedian that looks like a little speck down there? No. Did I? Yeah. Why? Because my friends wanted to go. What does your physical appearance say about yourself? Do you feel comfortable with your physical appearance? Is your hair too long? Is your hair too short? Does it get too crazy? My daughter has the most beautiful Shirley Temple curl hair. Spirals, I mean, natural Shirley Temple curls. She hates her hair. She straightens her hair every day. She's 24 years old and straightens her hair. Has straightened it since she figured out how to use a straightener. That makes her happy. So think about your physical appearance. What makes you happy? And if something doesn't make you happy, what can you do about that? There are some things we can't do anything about unless you've got money and want to go do plastic surgery, like you don't like your nose, but look at look at what your appearance. I'm not talking necessarily about your face or your hands or body. What I'm talking about is, do you stand tall? Do you slump? Are your clothes clean or are they dirty? Do you wear everything with stains? Sometimes your physical appearance can really affect how you feel about yourself. If you're slumping, if your clothes have stains, that can be a real negative feeling. And some people can't do anything about that. And as peers, we work with people that, don't have a choice on what they wear, or, they slump because people call them names and treat them bad. And so, you know, what can we do to help them, help yourself feel better about yourself in that situation? I know up here in Olympia, we have a ministry that goes out and gives clean clothes to people. They actually have a place where they can wash their clothes for those that are living without homes. And so, you know, what is it about your physical appearance that you might change to make it better? Or what is it that you absolutely love about your physical appearance? And why do you love that? You know, I love wearing dresses. Why? Because it makes me feel like a princess. It makes me feel like a grown-up. I love wearing shoes that when you walk through the hall, they click. Why? Because my teachers wore clicking shoes, because adults wear clicking shoes. So by wearing shoes that click on the floor when you walk, I feel like I'm grown up. And it makes me feel good about myself, because it means that I'm big. I know that sounds silly because I'm 55 years old and I still like wearing clicking shoes. What are your thoughts and beliefs about you? You know, my dad nicknamed me Grace because I constantly fell. I stumbled over everything. And I'm the person that was talking to a friend, and the horse that she was sitting on looks me in the eye, looks down at my foot, looks me in the eye, picks up his foot, puts it on my foot, and shifts his weight. Okay. I'm graceful. So I always thought that I was clumsy, and this is something that I just carried on with me. What I realize is that I'm not clumsy, is that I actually have an ear issue with balance. And so my balance is off because of something that I can't fix. But growing up, I just thought that I was clumsy and wasn't paying attention. So what are your feelings and beliefs? What have people said to you? What do you think is you? Bring that apart, tear it apart. That would be a good journal entry. What do I believe about myself? What do others believe about me? Okay, here you go. I want you to list 3 best friends that you hang out with the most. And then how do those friends affect your identity? And I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to do this. And I'm going to go out of the share and I'm going to drop some stuff into the chat. So think about 3 friends that you have. Okay, we're going to go. Hope. Oh, shoot. Wow. I just looked at the count in my room. I'm up to 77 people. So what I'm doing now is I'm dropping some stuff into the chat, and then we're going to go back to the PowerPoint. So that's 3. I've got 3 more to drop, and then I'll put my email in. And like I said, if you have trouble getting them from here, my email, just email me and I will send them to you. I cannot put in the PowerPoint presentation yet because I still have it open on my computer.
So will you drop that in there at the end, Bev?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so that's my email and the handouts that I normally do. So let me go back to my share screen. Okay, so I had you working on your 3 best friends that you hang out with most, and how do these friends affect your identity? Does anybody want to answer or share how their friends may affect their identity?
I think for me, they help me in some way because I feel negative about myself.
Okay. So they're maybe a little bit more positive than you are, and they help you. Yeah. Okay. I like that.
I can share. My friends help keep me grounded.
Okay.
And help. I've got a really solid community around me that's done a lot of work on themselves, and we support each other. And so, I've got a group, probably about 8 of us, that we help keep each other focused on recovery. And, when we start to get sideways, we ground each other and help keep each other on track. So accountability is huge part of my life. And I have close friends that do that for me.
That is amazing. That's exactly how it should be. And so we have these amazing friends around us. That I have a friend that I helped become a therapist because I babysat her children. And she helped me as my husband would have strokes from the disease that he had. So we're best friends. I mean, I could call her right now and say, I need air. And she would drop everything and come over to my house and would be there for me. And that's the type of friends that we want to have. And one of the reasons I picked this picture is because we need to be a team with our friends. Our friends can truly affect so much about us and who we are. I had the friends that wanted to go out drinking all the time. And it's like, I can't go out drinking all the time. That's a bad thing for me. So journaling. Oh my God, I love journaling. You can journal so many ways, by the way. It's not just sitting down with a booklet now and writing everything out. You can actually do a YouTube channel and turn it into a journal. You can do a podcast as a journal. You can write and do a blog as a journal, typing it out. There are so many ways. There are apps on your phone for journaling. There are web pages on the computer for journaling. Figure out what works good for you. One of the precious things that we had was my mom was not a huge journaler, but before she passed away, she actually taped a couple of days of thoughts on some tapes, and our family had those as a way to remember my mom. And it was really neat because we got to hear what her thoughts were as she was fighting cancer, and her thoughts about us and about the relationships in the family and stuff. It was a really amazing gift that she was able to give us. But journaling can be something that you can use yourself. So figuring out how you're going to journal is one of the most important things. My poor children, I have an addiction to office supplies. And so I find these books that have really cool covers and sayings, and I'll start journaling in it, and then I'll move on to another one. And so my journaling is done through multiple different books, and I'll have go to this journal that says, or go to this that says this, and I'll pick it up from there. And so when they go to read my journaling, it's going to be like a treasure hunt, because it's going to be, oh, wait a minute, they said that I need to find the one with the unicorn on it. Oh, crud. Yeah. They're going to have to go off on this search. But I know what I'm writing when I'm writing it. And journaling has really helped me out a lot. You don't have to start at the beginning. You don't have to sit down and go, okay, I was born in Tillamook, Oregon, to a mom that was on vacation and blah, 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 blah. You start where you're at. And it doesn't have to be a long thing. It can be something really short and simple. Today, I feel really good. The world is coming together and I'm getting life and I feel good. Today, I feel like crap. Today, I was scared to death. I got a text from my son that he was in a back room at a mall with an active shooter. You can put anything in your journaling. And you can go forwards and backwards in time in your journal. It doesn't have to be chronological. Yes, my son was at the mall shooting Saturday, and my world fell apart that day as I waited for my son to be escorted out of the mall. My children are one of my priorities in life. They are a big joy for me. They've struggled. They have struggled a lot, and they have dealt with a mother who has struggled, but they are very important. Think of your life stories as short chapters. You know, how you met the person that you love, or how you found recovery, or first time you ever heard about a peer. There are so many things that you can write in there, and let it flow. It may or may not seem like it fits together, and that's okay. It doesn't have to fit together perfectly. Focus on just writing down your story. Worry about grammar and spelling later. I'm sorry, I am not a grammar person. I'm not a spelling person. People are going, you should see my text messages. Mother, you need to quit using voice to text because we don't understand what you're saying. Don't worry about it. You're doing your journal for you, not anybody else. Yes, your descendants may read it. You can burn it. You can have it in your will that you want all your journals burned so nobody reads them. That's, you know, it's up to you. But you're doing it for you. The order of your stories is irrelevant. It's what's the most important thing is what you remember and what's going on with you. Really basic, get a spiral notebook and just write journal on the front of it. You can go to the dollar store and get really cute little notebooks that have pictures on them and sayings on the front. You can, like I said, use the word processor. And you just start writing. Whatever comes to your head, you write. And give yourself a time. If you're not good at writing, give yourself 5 minutes. Set a timer and just whatever comes into your head for that 5 minutes. That works really well for some people. Living authentically. Your values are simply the things that are the most important to you at the core of who you are. So some of the popular values are adventurous, relationship types, like I believe in loving relationships, spirituality, I'm a Christian, creativity, I love music, making a mark on the world. I remember when I was a little girl, I watched a TV show and nobody came to this person's funeral. And I remember thinking, I just want the world. I don't, when I die, I don't want to be the person that nobody comes to see. I want to be the person where people come and say, she touched my life. She made a difference. And that's how I live my life. And that makes me happy.
I just wanted to say on the value part, like I look at myself as not creative. Like I can't do anything creative. And I ran into this craft. It's like diamond dots. And it's one of my joyful things that I do. And it's somewhat a type of craft. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Diamond dots are amazing. I do that too. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. Sit there and just focus, and it's almost like a paint by number.
Yeah, awesome. There's so many different
designs.
Yeah, designs. Yeah.
There was another question. Okay. People have posted in the chat about friends. So before we go on past that,
okay.
They are wondering, what if you don't have friends?
If you don't have friends, that's a hard question, because in today's world with COVID, we can't just go out and do what we would normally do and meet people. What I would normally say would be, do you go to church? Is there somebody at church that you can connect with? Do you go to a 12-step program? Is there somebody there that you feel that maybe has something that connects with you? But a lot of those things don't happen now. So it's hard. What I like to say is look at the things that you do that other people do. like I said, the 12 steps, the going to church, going to karaoke, going to groups, the park. There's a webpage called meetup.com, and it has like dog walkers. Let's go walk our dogs together. Let's go. There's Facebook groups, community Facebook groups that will have things that people can do with each other. It's hard to make friends, especially when you've had bad experiences around friendships, because it's hard to trust. And I would say, what I tell people that when I work with my wives' families, what I tell the parents is, what do you enjoy doing? Okay, then let's see if you enjoy taking pictures. Let's see if we can find a group in the area that does picture taking. And maybe there's somebody in that group that you can find something in common with beyond taking pictures, and that can become a friend. An acquaintance to a friend. So it's finding something that you enjoy doing. Do you have an animal? Walk your dog, go to a dog park, and play and talk to the other dog owners. If you have children and you're taking them to a playground, then, take the children with you to the playground and talk to the other parents. Join a Facebook group on a craft that you like to do, or a political, if you're politically involved, find something that you like yourself and see if there's a group in your local area. Craigslist will have groups. Meetup.com has groups. Facebook has groups. I'm sure some of the other social medias that are out there now have groups. And sometimes it's scary because you're putting yourself out there. Oh my gosh, it's scary because you're putting yourself out there. And what I do to make friends is I find something that I'm going to go do, like karaoke, and I get up and I sing, and usually one or two people will come comment about how good of a singer I am. And I go to the same karaoke place over and over again. And so the friendships start to build from that karaoke place. And like I said, I know it's hard right now with COVID because everybody's in lockdown and things are kind of crazy. So,
yeah, it is crazy during COVID. I just want to say, I had a time in my life where I didn't think I had friends, and I was just this person doing my own thing, my own life. But being a peer support specialist and learning to be outgoing and helping others, and also being in recovery and going to church, those are the places where I am slowly making friendships and trusting people.
Yes.
Oh, and if anyone wants to be my friend, I'll be somebody's friend. I don't have, it's sad when people don't have friends and are not outgoing or don't want to try or feel alone. So I'm willing to be somebody's friend. We can get to know each other, whatever.
You are so sweet. See, that's me. I'm the one. I'll be a friend. Pick me. I see an alert that Jim Wickel has his hand raised.
Hi. Actually, it's Weichel, but everybody says that, so it doesn't even bother me anymore. No problem. I was thinking about friends. I'm kind of an introvert. A lot of people wouldn't know it if they know me from the work I do or what have you, but because once you start me talking, it's hard to shut me up. But I am kind of an introvert. And what I found, it's not hard for me to make friends, but I really have to get to know them and they get to know me on a pretty intimate level. Mm-hmm. And, that word intimacy, if you break it down, into me, see kind of thing, And so what I found out is I have a lot of acquaintances and maybe a handful of what I would say are real friends. And so I had to learn a difference, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
I'm willing to be friends with anyone, but I don't like collect friends like you do on Facebook or what have you, you know. So that being said, I'm willing to be anybody's friend as well. So
I'm going to suggest that people that are willing to talk to other people and hang out, you know, drop your email in the chat and see if anybody, you know, it's important.
I will also try to capture these email addresses and put them in a document, and I'll send it to you, Bev, and then you can add it with your, if that helps facilitate that.
That would be wonderful.
And it looks like Lillian also has her hand up.
Okay, Lillian.
I have a lot of people in my church that I know care about me, but I haven't really been able to develop friendships because it seems like everybody already has their intimate group of friends, and it's hard to reach into that.
Yeah.
And I'm so there with you, Lillian. So there with you.
And I just, you know, it's like on Facebook, I have people that I absolutely can share things with, but we're geographically incompatible. So, and it's, you know, it's like we don't really talk to each other much until there's something that happens in our lives, and then we're there for each other. But other than that, it's not, you know, so it's just really, really hard to reach in.
Yes.
And as far as the meetups and things like that go, my life has not permitted me to do those things. So, yeah.
Yeah. So building a friendship it takes time. It really does. I have known my friend that I talked about that, you know, she would come in a heartbeat. We've known each other for about 15 years, 16 years. And we met, she was a neighbor, and we met because our kids went to school together. And so she came over and needed a babysitter and had asked me if I'd be willing to babysit the kids because she had to go do an errand or something at her school. And so I agreed to babysit the kids. And our kids were not real good friends, but her and I became best buddies. And the funny part is religiously, we are exact opposites. Politically, the majority of the time, we're exact opposites. And, but our friendship grew because we had enough in common that we built off of those and just put the opposite stuff on the burner over here and decided, you know, we're just not going to talk about those things. So yeah, building friendships can be very hard. And I wish I had more information. It's, you know, I wish I had a magical thing because a couple of my kids have issues building friends, finding friends, and they have trust issues. So it's hard. You know, it sounds like you guys are trying to do what you can. And I can talk a little bit more about this later with you if you know, just send me an email and maybe we can get together on Zoom and I can talk a little bit later if you want to go forward with this conversation. So the 2 pages I just went through, those questions, the 15 things, that's one of the handouts I gave you. So those questions you now have in your possession and you can go over them and they're things to think about. I like to think that we need to live, we need to learn, and we need to love. But we need to do all of these things for ourselves, not for other people. And yes, we can live for our children or for our spouse, but the reality is that we need to live for who we are inside ourselves. We need to learn so that we can be who we are to be. And eventually we need to learn to love ourselves, because loving yourself is one of the most important things that that we can do. It's hard when you don't love yourself because it's easy to remember, you know, things that other people say. So with the 15 questions that I sent you, brainstorm around them, write down your passions that come to mind, the different answers that come to mind, and think about putting them in place with living, loving, and learning. Love who you are. Oh my gosh. So this is me. I dye my hair. I celebrate Christmas. I found my red Solo cup, which is huge. I like strange things. This is my very finicky kitty cat. I do SCA, which dress up in medieval garb and pretend like I'm from, you know, the Renaissance area, medieval area. I like to joke around that I'm adult-ish. I try really hard to be an adult, but sometimes I just don't quite make it. And yes, this is a hearse. My cousin owns a couple of them. And the sign says, widow looking for next husband, give me a call. And so I have a very twisted sense of humor. My email is right here, and I gave you my email, but one of those should be my webpage. I'm gonna have to fix that. My webpage is bevyoungreed.com without the periods in between the. So that's the presentation part of this. Darn it, what am I doing?
Bev, it sounds like some of the participants missed the files that you.
Okay.
So maybe you can upload those again, and they can try to
definitely
access them. That would be
definitely.
Great. And then also, Bev did mention that if you still are unable to get the handouts, to send her an email, and she can get those over to you.
Yes, definitely. So this is the part where we get to ask questions and answer questions. I believe this session is over at 10:30.
That's correct. And it looks like Gail has her hand up.
Yes, Gail.
Hi. One thing, we were talking about friends and making friends at church. I go to a Unitarian Universalist church. I'm actually Jewish, but it's closer to where I live. And I went to it for, 2-3 years, and we have coffee after the services. And I would always kind of melt into the background, not wanting to disturb anybody else while they're all talking, not wanting to interrupt them. But we went to virtual, of course, in about May. And it's actually been very helpful for me because, you kind of have to interact with people when you have the social hour, there you are. And people have gotten to know me. I've gotten to know them. I've also attended a lot of different classes and stuff that they have. The one thing, though, is they call me friend, but I have never had anybody just call up and say, hi, how are you doing? That type of friend. I did have one person call me because she thought something she said had insulted me and wanted to make sure that, she apologized. And what she said I didn't even, pick up on any kind of an insult. But otherwise, it's really funny. And I'm an introvert, used to being by myself, although now I live with my sister, so she's my friend. But I've never really called somebody, either. So I feel funny calling them. But I just want to say, yeah, Zoom has helped me as far as, being able to get to know these people.
Zoom has been, I think it's helped a lot of people get to know people. It has been a lifesaver over this last year. I guarantee that, because I I don't know what I would do if I didn't have the ability to go out on Zoom and talk to my friends. I actually help host a group called the Back Porch Connection. And we do live videos with peers that support or that run as hosts. So everybody who's a host in Back Porch is either a recovery coach or a peer specialist or life coach or a therapist, or they've had training on how to work with people. And that has helped me keep my sanity during this last year where I haven't been able to go out. So I agree. Facebook is a good option.
And I wouldn't be able to attend this if it weren't for Zoom.
Yeah.
I also am part of a group on Facebook, White People Doing Something. And they also, they have a branch that teaches, classes. The thing about, and so I've made a lot of friends around the country, so it's been helpful.
So Alton has his hand raised, and there's another question about anybody that doesn't have tech, how they will be able to access the handouts. I think that's what the question was.
Real fast, I have just entered all of the handouts again, and I've also put the PowerPoint presentation up in the chat. So you can, for those that are able to and know how to, you can download those. Real fast, Alton. As far as those that do not have tech, reach out to me. If you can send.
That wasn't really the question.
Oh, okay.
It was a commentary on the sadness for people that don't have tech. When we were
yes.
How great tech was.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. I feel sad for the people that don't have tech. It's, yeah. Alton, your question, comment.
Yeah, first, thank you for this. This was great. But what I wanted to comment on, because it kind of tied in what I wanted to say from friends to live, learn, and love. Before I became an addict, I was really, I was really connected with family and community and friends. And it was taught. Love was taught in my home. Then I became an addict, and it was darkness. So all of that went away. So then I got into recovery, and I had to live, I had to learn again, and then I had to live, and then that love that was the foundation came back. So, what I wanted to say is finding friends is easy if you come from a place of love. If you're built on a foundation of love and of family and of in my case, God and what's the word?
Authentically?
Authentic. If you're an authentic person, then it comes easy. The issue is that everyone that you call or they call themselves your friends, they aren't. The issue is they don't come from that place. And so, a lot of times we get burnt, but it doesn't change who we are. Inevitably, we're still the same. We're still that same. I'm still that authentic person. So, it's not going to stop me from loving. It's not going to stop me from being a receiver, if you will, of love. Mm-hmm. The only thing it does is it teaches me who's real and who's not, and who to stay away from and who to gravitate to. And I got to admit, this pandemic has done a lot for that. It's really kind of weeded out the bullshit, if you will. Excuse my French. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. I think as we become more authentic with ourselves, we learn to love ourselves more. And I do agree that if we come from a place of love, if we are loving ourselves, I think people can see that. And I think that does open up pathways for more friendships. Being authentically you, it's not always easy. Sometimes you get put into hard spots, and sometimes you have to say something or do something that somebody's not gonna be happy with what you're saying or doing. but you know inside yourself that you have to say or do that because that's who you are inside. And as I've created my authentic self, as I've become who I am and figured out what my goals in life are, I have a life mission statement. I have, I've gone through and I've looked at what my ethics are, and I've looked at what my values are in my life. And I've looked at why I do some of the stuff I do. And one of the big factors of why I do some of the stuff I do is from my childhood, because I grew up around a lot of abuse and neglect. And so I want to help other people so that they don't have to suffer the pain that I've gone through. And as peers, I think a lot of us have that in our heart, is that we want to help other people because we know what it's like to be down in the dumps. We know what it's like to not be able to take a breath and to not know, what tomorrow is, and to have that, trying to think of the word, to have that lived life experience that, life just sucks. But to be able to pull ourselves up out of that and to hold on to that, sometimes you go backwards. Sometimes life sucks again. But as long as you remind yourself who you are, and if you feel like you're not quite there yet, go over the handouts again, go over the stuff, ask yourself the questions, go back to your journal and figure out what it is inside of you that isn't setting quite right. And work on that. But I think that once that you've got that, I think other people around you will see that. And I think friends will come because they'll see your authenticity and that you love yourself and that you are living the real you. And that's really important. Let's see. Fernando, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. As you're talking about this, I was just thinking, as a peer mentor in the organization I work with, we lead a life skills group. And what I love about your presentation, it really aligns with a lot of the ideas that I try to present, because self-awareness was a big part of my personal recovery and something I practice so hard still today. So I was thinking about how as a peer mentor and leading groups, I was like, and also in my regular life, I just always try to remind myself that the best way to get across to our peers, if we don't reach them verbally, is, by our own actions. So I just always try to be the best role model I can be. And also, what I'm preaching to them about, self-awareness, or presenting to my own group of peers around self-awareness, I want to just make sure that I'm practicing them myself, so that what I'm actually talking about, which I feel like why you're so good at talking about this as well, is because it's something you really believe in. And I think it's just easier to talk about something that you truly believe in and have passion about. Because quite honestly, being a peer is an art form as far as I'm concerned. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, can we talk about honesty, disclosure, and how this may be different or similar to authenticity? Yeah, definitely. I think that being authentic with yourself is something that you do on a personal level. So you figure out who you are, and then you step into those shoes and you walk forward on that path. When we are being honest or we are disclosing about ourselves, that is for other people. So I may honestly tell you that I'm an alcoholic and that it's really hard for me to turn down a margarita. And once I've had one, number two is very close behind, and number three is right there.
Seeing them.
And so that's an honest statement. Is that who I am? Yes, I'm an alcoholic. But authentically inside of me, I am somebody that has realized that drinking is not good for me, because once tequila hits my system, certain things start coming off. And so you know, I'm not a good person when it comes to drinking. It just is not a good person. So I can be honest about it, but is that who I authentically am? No. As far as a disclosure goes, when you're disclosing to people, when I work with my wife's families with Catholic Community Services, my disclosure statement is more about my lived life experience than what my true authentic self is. So my disclosures are, I have mental health issues. I have dealt with mental health my whole life. I have anxiety. I have medication that I take for my anxiety, which may or may not be something that you choose to do. I have children that have lived life experience. I have a daughter who has a dissociation disorder. I have a different daughter who has self-harm issues and has attempted suicide. And I have a son who is an alcoholic. Those are disclosures that I can meet with you on a personal basis. Those are things that we can have in common. I'm a widow. I am a Christian. I am a Washingtonian. I'm female. I'm cis-identifying. Those are all things that we can meet on, and it's a common ground. It's things that people can have in common. When you're talking about who you are authentically, you're not going to find another person like you. You may have things in common with them, but authenticity is something that's inside you. And, you know, for me, going out and walking along the beach gives me energy, but it may drain somebody else. So that's the difference that I see between being authentic and honesty with our clients and disclosures with our clients, is that the one is for us and the other two are for them. Did that answer your question? I hope. Charity? Yes, Charity, please.
Yeah. Sorry, let me get my mic so that I can, I'll take my video or put my video on so you can see me. Okay. Hi. Yeah, so my question is, I think sometimes there's like a bit of confusion about what it means to be authentic. I think sometimes people expect themselves to disclose all of who they are, and, you know, their past and, you know, details, every feeling, that kind of thing. You know, people talk a lot about trust and like in relationships, and how there's like this expectation that you tell each other everything. And I think sometimes that gets mixed in with authenticity. And I guess I was wondering your perspective on that, because I think in some ways disclosing things with other people, it's, you know, we might not necessarily be in a place to do that. We might not necessarily, you know, feel safe to do that. But does that mean we're not being authentic by choosing not to disclose certain parts of ourselves? Or, and how do we live that out in a balanced way?
Okay, so let's see if we can my joke failed because I used the wrong word. Let me see if we can get this bomb disconnected before it goes off. Okay. That was a joke, guys. Laugh. I think there is a point when you're new on figuring out who you are, you get so excited about it that I think the overshare can happen. But I also think that it's important to learn what is okay to share and what is not okay to share. Walking into the room with my children and saying, wow, your dad and I had great sex last night is an overshare that my children don't need to know. Walking in and saying, you know, I really love your dad. He's just an amazing man. That's an appropriate share. So I think that as we figure out who we are, I think we get more comfortable in what we can share. but overshare can definitely be an issue at times. And I would say, ask yourself, is this something that you want the whole world to know? Do you want your children to know? Do you want it on the billboards in Times Square, flashing? And if the answer is no, then it's probably something that you don't want to share with somebody else. But it can be something that you might want to share with a friend. And that's kind of what I do, is if I don't want it on the billboard, because I'm a very open and authentic person, and I can be blamed for oversharing sometimes. But part of that is I also talk a lot about grief and about my husband's disease, which I'm teaching the class on grief on Wednesday. There's 25 slots. I don't know how many people have signed up yet. But sometimes when you get into conversations around that, it gets into a deeper share. And so the way that I live my life is I want to be a teacher, and I don't want people to hurt from things I've done. Does that mean that I'm going to tell them how it feels when I have a margarita? No. Does that mean that I'm going to, what do I share? And that's something that you all have to be aware of with inside yourself. But yeah, definitely. I think that oversharing is a real danger. And I would highly suggest that you think about, do you want it on a billboard in Times Square? Do you want it on the news? Do you want it all over your Facebook? So hopefully that answers your comment.
Okay. I just wanted to jump in real quick. So we got about 10 minutes left. And I've got a list of email addresses that I'm putting together. If anybody else wants to add their email address to this list of connection for, connecting with friends, new friends, support, whichever, please send those over in the chat box, and I will do my best to capture all of them. Thank you.
Yes, and I am doing the handouts again and the PowerPoint presentation. I really want to say thank you for coming to my class today. And, there's you can go back to your page, and there's a please leave an evaluation. I would encourage you to fill out the evaluation, be honest. If there's something that you feel that I can work on in my presentation, please let me know. I am totally open. This is the newer of my classes that I teach. And with that, I'd like to say that, it's learning to love yourself can be a really hard road. Learning to be authentic with yourself, but it pays off in the end, because I have been able to be happier in the end. I struggle with a lot of medical issues and, all that stuff. And for me, I can't imagine living a lie of a life anymore. My friends that wanted to go out and party all the time, and it's like, that's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. But I am the person that you can call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I will talk to you and help you in your time of need. And that is honestly who I am. I don't pretend. It's part of who I am. And part of that is figuring out that I really loved helping. I worked in childbirth for 25 years, and I was a professional doula. I supported families giving birth, and I would get phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning about the baby won't go to sleep and I don't know what to do. And we've tried everything. And I then get to teach them over the phone how to do the happiest baby on the block technique. And I get a call the next day. Oh, thank you. You saved our lives, So I like helping people, and that is who I truly am. when you figure out who you are, it just feels good. So thank you so much, everybody. I've seen our numbers go up and down a little bit. We've been up to 80, we've been down to 60, but it's been pretty stable. And you know, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'll drop my email in the chat real fast, like again. And you know, if I would love to talk more with you guys. Let's see, my webpage is. I keep trying to turn my webpage into an email for some reason. There, I put both of my web pages there. My other web page is Unicorn Grief, because every grief is a unicorn. So the handouts, I had put them in the chat. You push on it and it should download. If you did not get those, then email me or put your email in the chat and I will be doing an email with those. You can also go to my webpage and reach out to me through my webpage and ask for the handouts as well.
God damn it.
So, well, I hope you all have a great conference. This is my first year at Purepocalypse.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bev. That was great and very informational and well put together. Thank you. And you're getting a lot of very positive feedback. So good job.
Yay. I see that. There's a handout there.
And then also, I'm going to email you directly after I end this, the email addresses that I did capture, and then you can share them.
Awesome. Thank you.
On your end with, you know.
Yes, I will put the email addresses in the, I'll do the email that I send out. I'll do the list of email addresses as well as the handouts. Actually, I'll do them separate. Emails will be one and handouts will be another. So, aloha. I like that. Aloha. That sounds like fun. So I think we have a big room presentation next.
How do we get to that?
It looks like if you go to the page that you registered on, the hyperlink for that is there.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I was a little confused this morning too. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to get to my class. So, and I'm always my worst enemy. I'm the one that will be there going, yep, and nobody's going to show up. So I really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, I will see you all over in the other room, hopefully.
If I can figure out how to get there. Thank you.
Well, there'll be a link in your handout.
In my handout.
Yes, or your email that you received. So it'll be under this day.
Yeah, there will be a link, and there's also a link on the MHAAO page.
Okay.
Under the Apocalypse tab.
Did they send out the email today?
You should have received it last week, at least by last week.
I'll see you all later.
Bye. Thanks again, Bev.
Do we need to keep track of anything for like CEUs or anything like that?
So also in your welcome packet, there should be a CEU tracking sheet.
What if I didn't get a welcome packet?
You can, well, let me see. You can, I think there's questions on the, you can send an email through the Purepocalypse website.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, and then
yes, thank you.
inquire there, and then they'll they'll get you what you need.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Have a good day,
everybody. Will all the stuff in the chat still stay here? I've captured over here, which is fine, but if I close this will go away, right? Do I need to do anything with that? Just end, okay. It's okay.